Hello Gemini Moon Signs, and welcome to your prediction for the full moon in Taurus happening on the 31st of October. And this is a real special one. Stay tuned. Alright, so this is the second full moon of this month, so it's a blue moon. And it's happening on Halloween, also called Samhain, which is the halfway point between the equinox and the solstice. So it is quite important in terms of the planetary movement, in terms of it being like a segment. And it is traditionally, in pagan views at least, seen as a time when the veil is thinning, when it's easier for spirits to cross over into this realm, for us to communicate with the spirits, and for us to also cross over into other realms. And so do be cautious about this, because you want that to be conscious, not by accident, because you weren't paying attention. The other interesting thing about this full moon is that it is ruled by Venus for the second time in a row, because the last new moon was ruled by Venus as well, which was in Libra. So Venus is the ruler of both Taurus and Libra. Oh, lovely. Alright, so the moon is at 8 degrees of Taurus, and Uranus is conjunct the moon also at 8 degrees of Taurus. So we have this double 8 number coming through. And of course 8 is abundance and infinity and wealth and all of these beautiful material abundance type ideas. However, this conversation happening between Uranus and the moon, because Taurus is normally that stabilizing, solid, sort of structured kind of sign, but with Uranus coming into this conversation, it's really destabilizing it. It's not such a stable moon. It's not a good time for planting the new seeds. It's really a time for weeding things out. It's really a time for releasing and accepting the new information that's coming through, even though maybe it's a difficult truth to perceive, a difficult truth to receive. Accept this new information, and the information might be coming from you. It might just be an internal realization. It might not be an actual message that's delivered, right? Side note, shout out to the astrology podcast as well as Molly McCord for the astrological information. Those are the people I follow, although a lot of it is my own interpretations. It is a good time to light a fire and to purge, a cleansing fire, to release that which no longer serves you, to check in with the old beliefs and to start shifting yourself into a new direction. It's really a direction change, which may be both internal and external. I'm really getting the sense that a lot of you are making quite big life-changing decisions right now around this time. I don't necessarily think that you should commit to a decision just yet. Wait a little bit longer, because new information may still be coming through. Of course, we're still in Mercury retrograde, Mars is still in retrograde, and so I would put off making really important decisions unless you absolutely have to, of course. The other thing that's happening is the sun is opposing the moon and Uranus. So this conversation is happening between the moon and Uranus, who are next to each other, and the sun, which is like directly opposite. So we've got this sense of opposing forces, right? Sun is masculine, moon is feminine. And this idea that, you know, the kinds of realizations that may be coming through may be to do with... it may be to do with power dynamics between the genders, between races, etc., etc. But this sort of realization and awakening to the sort of depth of the ingrainedness of these kinds of power dynamics, and how we've actually internalized them within ourselves, and how there's still work. Even if, you know, you've had these realizations before, you're recognizing, wow, there's still places inside of myself where I am using this kind of foundational problematic knowledge that I have been ingrained with. And it doesn't matter which end of the spectrum you're on, it's still programmed in you, right? How you see yourself, how you see the world, how you see people according to what they look like, right? So it's really about these opposing forces, and about coming to those realizations so that we can make those internal shifts and therefore move in a different direction, therefore move into a more equitable position, and transforming the society in order to move in those ways. So essentially, you know, it's a breaking free from what we originally assumed to be something stable and structured, but we're breaking free from it because it was actually something that was holding us back. It was actually something holding us back. And so this is also represented in sort of this movement from the Capricornian, the age of Capricorn, right, into the age of Aquarius, because we have the Earth, which is more stable and less changing. I mean, it does change and evolve, but it's moves slowly. You know, we don't generally see a mountain popping up in half a minute. It takes centuries. But the air moves and changes and shifts, and moves and changes and shifts so easily. And so we're really shifting into this changeable, movable, moldable kind of way of living, right? So get used to it, Geminis. And I know you're good at this. I know you're good at moving with the changes, and adapting and flowing and just fitting in how you need to. And yeah, make those conscious changes, make those shifts within yourself. The general energies that are coming through for you is counselor and gifts from God. And the thing with this counselor energy is it's really saying that you are a natural counselor. And I think it's got a lot to do with that moon placement in Gemini, because you have this ability to think quickly, to use your intellect, to use your logic. But then, of course, you also have those intuitive guidances, those systems. And so this allows you to be able to see things from multiple perspectives, especially for other people. Maybe sometimes you're not so good at seeing it for yourself, which doesn't mean always, but sometimes. So you can so easily see, ooh, this is what you need to do, right? This is what you should do. This is how you can solve that problem, and that's how you can solve this problem. So you're a natural counselor, and maybe some of you are deciding to shift into a line of work that is more aligned with this natural counseling ability you have. Maybe you're going to go study something like hypnotherapy or psychology or anything along these lines, or even divinatory arts such as the tarot or astrology, because I think as people who practice as psychic and mediums, or use divinatory practices, we are also counselors, right? We're also providing a therapy, providing a space for you to explore the depths of who you are. And quite often we attract people who are also like that, because we learn from each other and we grow through this sort of reciprocal process, right? And I'm learning every single day from all of you, especially those of you who are interacting with me on the Facebook and Instagram. And for those of you who don't know, I do a live every Tuesday on Instagram. I'd love to see you there. It's a lot more interactive, of course. And so in terms of this gifts from God, what your guiding spirits want you to know is that gifts are coming through for you. Abundance, love, support is coming through for you. And all you need to do is open your arms and receive it, and start to recognize all of the gifts that you're being given. And recognize that even the hardships, even the difficult times, even those moments where you go, oof, this is not what I wanted, those too are blessings. Because sometimes we ask for something and we're like, we want our lives to look this way. And then the spirits go, okay, well, in order for it to look that way, actually, you're kind of a little bit on the wrong path here. Well, maybe not the wrong path, but we need to steer it a little bit in a different direction. So, boom, something explodes over here. But they're just clearing the pathway. You know, they're getting rid of all the debris and the stuff you don't need so that you can actually go to the place you're wanting to be. And so you need to start recognizing even your challenges, the problems, the hardships as blessings from God or universe, or whatever terms you prefer to use here. So in terms of the energy you have leading up to this full moon, we have the Hermit card with the Seven of Cups. And so you're spending a lot of time alone, you're spending a lot of time tapping within, you're spending a lot of time doing the shadow work. But sometimes you are getting a little bit too lost in overanalyzing and thinking too much around it. And this is very much that Mercury kind of tendency, right? And now while Mercury is in retrograde, perhaps there's a little bit of clouding or a little bit of getting too lost, or maybe there's a bit of confusion in your ability to think these things through. And the advice that's really coming through is ground. You know, you're a little bit lost in those air energies, the air and the water and the feeling part of it. So bring it down to the grounding and do, like I already mentioned, light some fires and burn some intentions, right? Burn some intentions, but make these intentions around healing and release work right now, and not so much about planting new seeds. It's not the best time to be planting new seeds right now. And you know, normally a Taurus full moon is a great time for that, but just astrologically at the moment, it's not the best time for that. And you can check out the astrology podcast as well as Molly McCord for further guidance on the astrology. So I would say keep doing this internal work, keep doing this shadow work, but just remember to ground yourself back down. And don't overanalyze, and don't get too frustrated when you're feeling a bit confused. It's okay to move through some confusion. It's perfectly fine. In terms of the energy you have over this full moon for you, we have the Devil card with the Ace of Cups. And this is an interesting combination because you're really going to be presented with some challenges in terms of facing your own ego. And this might take many shapes and forms. It might take the shape or form of like an old addictive pattern showing itself up again, or you know, the temptations of falling into those old patterns, self-abusive cycles, or going back to old relationships which were just toxic. I want you to please try and avoid any of these things, and rather make the choice to, you know, take the challenge, because they're going to bubble up, they're going to show themselves to you, and it's okay. We have ego, it does sometimes bubble up, sometimes the old beliefs come back and go, oh, I dare you to deny me once more, and take the dare and deny it once more, because you're worth it and you deserve to be happy and you deserve to turn over this new leaf. And this is the choice. Sink back into the old after the amount of hard work you've done in terms of unlearning and processing and moving through new realizations, right? Because you've been doing that work and there's no need for you to backslide. And the thing is, if you do backslide a little bit and you catch yourself and then still make the choice, like, it's never too late to make that choice. So please don't get scared and think that like, oh, everything's over now if you did fall into the trap, right? Catch yourself. I fall into traps all the time. It's okay. It's okay. I have an ego too. It's okay. It's okay for you to have the ego. It's okay sometimes to get stuck in those false narratives, but pull yourself out and turn over the new leaf. Turn over the new leaf. Speak words of love to yourself. Empower yourself. Do the work. Maybe try some self-hypnosis to help yourself through this time. I actually think some self-hypnosis will be incredibly, incredibly powerful for you over this full moon. And I'd really like to recommend someone I recommend all the time. I might have told you in the last series, Marissa Peer. I will link her below. Absolutely. please check her out. Absolutely life-changing, and you can get some really incredible self-hypnosis tools through her channel, also here on YouTube. And then in terms of the energy that you have for you after this full moon, we have the Ten of Wands with the full card. And the Ten of Wands is talking about, okay, let me start with the full card actually, because the full card is talking about being at the precipice of a new cycle. You have turned your back on the old cycle and you are stepping into this new cycle. And you know, some parts of this new journey that is in front of you seem very scary because a lot of it is unknown. And you know, while you have some goals set out and you have some idea of where you want to go, you really don't see the whole path. You are not 100% sure how it's going to unfold, and that's okay. That's exactly how it's supposed to be, right? And the interesting thing about this full card, it's that numerology of the 0. It's everything, it's nothing. It's the all possibility and the no possibility. It is up to you. Choice is yours. There are exciting things on this journey. There are also dangers. So please don't just skip along on this journey thinking everything's just going to be fine, and don't not being conscious about each step. Look at each step. Take each step with consciousness and with intention. Don't just take the step for the sake of taking the step. Ask yourself, why are you taking this step? Is it aligned with your goals? Is it going to move you forward? Or is it you getting distracted and falling into old patterns and wasting your time? Really be decisive about each step. Check out each step, because there will be some dangers. There will be some challenges. And it's okay if you take a wrong turn. It's okay. There is not actually a wrong or a right. There just is where you are right now and what decision you are making with what you have in front of you right now, which direction you are going, and what choice you are making in terms of how you react, what energy you put in next. So are you focusing on gratitude, or are you speaking a poor me narrative? The Ten of Wands is talking about feeling like somehow it feels like I've taken on too much in this life. Somehow it feels like it's too much for me to carry alone, right? Me being you. And what your angels really want you to know right now is this is just enough for you. This is the perfect weight for you, for your highest growth, for your highest purpose. You chose this, actually. You chose this, and you chose it for a reason. This is your sacred path. This is your sacred path. Step forward bravely, knowing that you can do this, knowing that you are equipped for this journey. And the way you tackle this massive mountain that you need to climb, you don't look at the big mountain the whole time. You look down at your feet, you see what step you have to take next, and you take that step. And then you take another step. And then you take another step. And don't try and take 20 steps in one go, because you're going to trip and fall. Just take one step at a time. That is perfect. That's the only thing you need to do. Only thing you need to do. Beautiful Gemini moons. I do hope that that resonated for you. Please let me know in the comments what you thought. I'd love to hear from you. Of course, if you would like a full tarot spread with me, I'd really love to do this work with you. Please drop me an email. Everything's linked below. I'd love to connect on Instagram. I do a weekly live there in that space. It's a bit more interactive, so you can comment, and I'm doing a sort of general reading for the people in the space. Sometimes I do a shorter one-on-one. So yeah, thank you for being on this journey. Thank you for doing the shadow work, and with love.